My name's Devon Yurosek. I'm a third-generation family farmer. I farm this property with my dad and my brother. We have been farming here for the past 34 years. My dad and grandpa started this farm back then. We farm pistachios, pomegranates, cherries, and we've just started farming citrus and almonds as well. We're in Kern County in the southern San Joaquin Valley of California. Kern County is one of the major agricultural counties in not only California but the world. We're one of the major producers of citrus and tree nuts, as well as a lot of other crops. We grow a lot of hay, alfalfa, a lot of cotton, a lot of potatoes, a lot of carrots. We are in an area that is currently very heavily stricken by the drought, something that we're in a spot that gets, on a good year, 7 inches of rain, and this year we've had a lot less. So for us, because we only have a chance to have one crop a year with all of our tree crops, we have one shot at making money for any particular block or acreage. We don't have any capacity to recoup costs if the crop isn't there. So we have, this year for instance, we had a very warm winter, so our trees didn't get chill hours. And so a lot of the pistachios didn't produce or aren't going to produce what they should have in a normal year. So for us, that means that we aren't able to even cover, in a lot of cases, the cost of farming the property for the last year. So the only way for us to really stay in the game, or at least a big portion of the capacity to pay that debt back, is to have crop insurance. We're able to, at least, we're not looking to make money off of crop insurance, but we're able to recoup our expenses for the year so that we can come back and continue to produce food for the following years. So I'm incredibly fortunate to be a part of a family farming operation. This is going to be passed down to my brother and I. It's something that we take very seriously. It's a business that means more than just making money. It's about providing healthy food to all populations, all socioeconomic groups. We want to be able to provide healthy, beneficial food for the world, and more particularly for the U.S. We have been farming, as I said, for 34 years in this area. We want to be able to continue to farm for another 150 years, or as long as we can. So it's something that we want to be able to pass down to future generations, something that we take very personally, to be able to have the opportunity to do a job that means so much to us. We have a lot of employees out here that it's also very important to them to continue to be employed. We try and take care of our guys as much as we can, but we have to be able to pay the bills, and that in bad years it is difficult to do if you don't have a crop on the trees, and that's where crop insurance has been a huge help to us. So most of our employees are the sole breadwinners of their families. Generally their wives are stay-at-home moms. That's not always the case, but it is quite a bit of the time. Their incomes provide for, in a lot of cases, large number of families. They send money to the rest of their family, so they're supporting a fairly large network of family. They also spend a lot of money in the local communities, as do we. So it's one of those things that we may not employ thousands of people, but the money that our employees make, it keeps people in business. We also have a lot of external vendors and suppliers who sell us products, who supply us with goods that aren't necessarily ever associated with agriculture. Everything from paper products for our office to labels that go out into the field, to fuel, to everything. The input expenses are quite high, and so obviously the amount that puts into the local and national economy is quite substantial. we never look to collect crop insurance. In good farming years, we don't take any money from the crop insurance programs. It's the bad years that we're looking to cover. So in those bad years, generally, if we're able to make a claim, we are not profitable as a business. And so to say that we need to pay more it puts a lot of pressure on the business. I think if these programs weren't here, we would struggle, particularly with the cost of everything else going up right now. Labor has gone up almost 20% in the last couple of years. Water prices have gone up exponentially. We were paying almost 300 times what we were paying for water just a few years ago. So our costs are going up. And when we do make crop insurance claims, that generally means that we were not fiscally in the black for that year. And so for us to have to add that, it's more pain at the end of the day. We don't want to take government money or subsidized monies to line our pockets. We're looking to cover costs. On the pistachios, we have been in the program from the beginning. We, for the first time last year, had to make a claim. We don't anticipate in the future making very many claims on pistachios. It's one of those things that it's a rarity that we would be in a position to make a claim, but one of those things that really helps us to survive for future years. In other crops, I think we've been in cherries for 10 years. We've made a claim only a handful of years. It's not a big source of our income, but it's one that helps us to cover our losses. I think this year has been a great example of a year when we continue. We aren't reliant on crop insurance to make our businesses profitable. This year, for instance, we think that we're probably going to have to make a claim with our pistachios, but we continue to farm them to the nines. So we're spending an extravagant amount of money on water. Our fertilizer program hasn't changed, even though our yields are probably going to be less, just so that we can try and squeeze out every nut off the trees that we can. We're not looking ever to make a claim. That's really just a safety net for us. So our goal is to try and produce as much as we can per acre, to be as profitable as we can per acre. And in the event that Mother Nature doesn't want to cooperate, we really don't have a whole lot of ways to mitigate that risk. So this is one way for us to continue to stay in the business and continue to keep our employees working. Our farm being an intergenerational farm is, for us, it's important that this business continues into the future, that this farm continues to produce well into the future generations. So for us, crop insurance isn't about trying to sit on our hands and let the government pay for our operations. It's about a safety net.